Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Command Center, where we like to put our favorite commander, maybe even yours, front and center. And you know we can't do that unless we're playing those three letters, EDH. What does it stand for, Derek?
We're trying to effectively delegate hit jobs. We're trying to point out what we want gone and get other people to do it for us.
That's right, because we are back on our 48 Laws of Magic Power series, and we're moving very steadily into Law 7, which states, get others to do work for you. So this is actually pretty similar to some of the other stuff that we've actually talked about. It seems like it actually made it into its own law now, as far as manipulating others to do the work.
So we had gotten, I feel like the last couple of laws, we had gotten into some like positive stuff, like trying to make better people.
Yeah.
We're back to making psychopaths today. We're done with all that, trying to have a positive experience and be friendly. No more.
No.
We are full on psychopath today, and you're getting other people to do your work for you. Because when you get stuff done without having to spend your mana, it's just better for you.
Yeah, it just makes you a better player.
Yeah.
Maybe not a better person, but maybe a better player.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some flavor text on a card that we feel like really speaks to us when it comes to this principle. And I think one that I've actually been playing this card for a very long time when I first got into Magic. And I never thought to look down at the flavor text until now. So we're going to talk about Chamber of Manipulation and look at that flavor text. It says it plainly. Politics is just a subtle form of mind control. Dash and Cephalids are master politicians. So you'll probably see a lot of Cephalid cards, the creature types, that do a lot of controlling other players and other creatures. So I think that this pretty much speaks to exactly what this principle is talking about. Mm-hmm. This is politics heavy right here. Politics 101 when we talk about this principle. Getting other people to do the work for you.
100%. Because it's like, you know what? We can't all afford Force of Wills and Pact of Negations and everything, but if you can just get somebody to counter spells for you, it's even better. You don't even have to waste a card in your hand, and it's free mana. Like, come on.
Exactly.
It's called efficiency.
So let's talk about the principles that help kind of break down, flesh out what this law is talking about. So going through it, let's look at the first one. You won't get far if you insist on doing all the work yourself. So this pretty much just says plainly, plain and simple, that you as a player probably aren't going to do far if you are trying to be the Captain Planet of the table. Trying to be the Superman of the table.
Trying to 1v3 every game is a terrible idea. It's a numbers game. If you have 3 opponents, they are drawing at least 3 cards per turn of the table. They're probably dropping 3 lands per turn of the table. And you're just sitting there, drawing a card, playing a land. The resources available at the table, you're always going to be outnumbered. This is why Commander, you can see people playing, tier 2-3 decks sometimes, like really powerful decks against a bunch of very casual decks, and see them lose because it is a numbers game, and you don't want to make every game just, okay, me against the world, let me just kill everyone. You can kill them, but first you need to figure out how to manipulate them a little bit first.
Yeah, it's a very daunting mindset going into a table of 1v3, and you're just thinking, how do I take out everybody? I don't like going to a game with that mindset. I personally don't. Every game I sit down at a table, I think about how can I delegate some of this work off to someone else, where maybe it's just 1v1 right here and make them go 1v1, and then after that is, best player wins. So that's how I like to approach a Commander game myself.
Yeah, and it's exhausting otherwise, because if your mindset is 1v3 every time, you're going to leave a lot of games disappointed, and your head's probably going to hurt, because that's a lot of stress trying to figure out how to deal with 3 decks. I could barely handle when I have a grudge against one person trying to go at them. 3 at a time, that's a lot.
Yeah. All right, moving on to principle 2. There are some skills that you don't possess. Just plain and simple. All right, you're not going to have all the resources. You're not going to have all of the keyword abilities. Mm-hmm. You're not going to have even the deck strategies to deal with some other decks. But it's a possibility that another player across from you will have those assets. Let's leverage them.
Yeah, and this is an excuse. This is not an excuse for bad deck building. You need certain things. This is not telling you, you know what, I'm not going to run removal in my deck. I can convince other people to do it. No, we're not telling you that. But what we are telling you is, in the sense of skills, I like to look at the color pie. And the color pie gives you certain skills you get access to. So if you're going to be sitting there playing your mono, either black or red or a Rakdos deck, something like that, you can't deal with enchantments. outside of like a Spine of Ishsaw or something like that, you have no way to deal with an enchantment. You need, if you see a green-white player across the table from you, befriend them. Get to know them, ask their life story, learn all about it. Even when they start talking, pretend to be really interested.
Or just make quick little deals with them. Like,
Or you could do that. I like to be real evil for it. I want to get the backstory and then before you betray them. But get on their good side, because at that one point in the game where someone breaks out, maybe that Dictator Erebos or Grave Pact or something that shuts down your deck, it's great to have that Selesnya player, that green player sitting across and be like, you know what? It'd be nice if you got rid of that, because you probably can't do anything about it.
That's right. So you actually brought up a good point. Knowing your opponents, paying attention to the color pie. Knowing what those colors can do against other permanents or other play strategies. Which brings us to our third point. Know your opponent's strengths. Alright, so not only do you know how your deck operates, but you should try to guess or just have background knowledge of how your opponent's decks operate as well, or how they should operate. So it's very likely that this Selesnya player is running a lot of artifact and enchantment removal. You just need to convince them to hold on to it in case player number 3 over here just gets out of pocket. So you convince them like, hey, you probably got this in your deck, but I know this player over here is going to drop a Cage Sun, they're going to drop a Planter Bridge or something like that. Like, just be patient. Just be patient. Just hold on. Don't jump the gun. All right. It's just a Soul Ring. There are other worse things than a Soul Ring.
And that's one of these things that I think this law, more than any of the other ones, is something you need to go into the beginning of the game thinking about. When you sit down, as soon as everyone drops their commanders, you made a really good point. If you have knowledge of the decks beforehand, if it's your play group, that's even better. You know what cards are in each deck. But even when you're playing with strangers, you look at the commanders that are out, you see what colors you're going up against, the strengths and weaknesses, and before you even drop your first land, know who might that be the biggest problem for you and know who you're going to try to work with. Because even at turn 1, you know what? I don't want to swing at you, I'm going to swing over here. Something as simple as that can just kind of plant the seeds to make that friendship grow into something that, okay, you know what? We'll be partners for a little bit. I'll take care of stuff for you.
Right.
So this is a law that you don't even... If it's turn 7 and you've been hitting somebody, all of a sudden someone drops an enchantment you can't remove, you can't turn to them and be like, you know what? Forget the fact I did 20 damage to you. You're my best friend now. We're gonna this is something you need to plant these seeds from turn 1 in situations like this. You need to know those matchups and get on it early.
So, moving on to the last tip of this strategy that we're talking about here. Share credit with other players or other players who are more superior to you. So, this isn't necessarily talking about, like, yay, we did it, high five. But it's, make it known to the other players, especially those who are either more advanced or have more removal than you, that it was a group effort to take out some of the really bad stuff on the board. That's how I see this.
Exactly, and I like to think, especially in Commander, credit is a weird word to use, and I feel like there's a couple definitions. Because really, you don't want to be getting, in the sense that it's used in the law, in the sense of business, and they talk about inventors a lot in the context of it. You don't want that type of credit in Commander, because you don't want to be the one to do something super impactful, and everyone's like, oh, he's doing stuff. That's not what you want. That's bad. That is bad. The way I like to see credit is either being credited for creating a fun game. Mm-hmm. So, as an example, if there's someone at the table who's playing a really oppressive deck, kind of jump-starting the movement to maybe take care of that player, you're going to get some positive credit towards you. Or credit might be seen as winning the game. And there's certain situations where it's not bad to end up second if you team up with somebody, take the rest of the table out, then battle it, one-on-one.
Yeah.
That could be something that's cool. Sharing that credit, sharing that chance at a win might not be a bad thing if it's also putting you in a better spot.
Yeah. And so to kind of wrap up all of these principles, I saw a good analogy, a good metaphor when I was doing the research for this. They said, think of yourself like a vulture. So in the circle of life, a vulture is, stays away from its other predators in the air. It lets other predators do the work, basically, whether if it's humans just, creating roadkill or another animal killing another animal. And they just wait until it's time for them to land onto the ground and just, enjoy their feast. So basically, the vultures are vigilant, ruthless, and quiet. So you don't really want to engage them, and they don't engage you. But, let other people pick off your prey for you, and then you come in and swoop down and pick off, the last little pieces of it.
100%. Don't use mana you don't have to use, and I'm guilty of this a lot. If you have an answer in your hand, it doesn't mean you have to use it. A lot of the times, priority is a thing that's ignored in Commander, even though you're technically supposed to go. And I've seen so many people that someone plays a threat, there's no like, oh, priority check. They'll just throw the counter spell down on the table. They didn't wait to see. They were so excited to be able to counter that. One, they technically broke the rules because it's out of order. But two, you wait a second, give everybody a look first, look helpless, and see if they'll waste their mana before you have to. I know it's exciting. I get excited when I actually have an answer too.
Yeah.
But wait a second, because sometimes the other team, like you said, you want to be that vulture. You sit back, let them use their resources, and then just kind of swoop in at the end.
Yeah, actually, just in a recent game, something resolved, and both I and the player after me had an answer to it. We both knew we had the answer to it, and we both did not want to use our answers. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to make you a deal. I'm going to use my answer to this. You don't swing at me with your board full of creatures for the next turn or two. We shook on it, and that was our deal. So, hey, if you have to use your resources, at least leverage the table so that you don't this doesn't come back to bite you. So that's how I saw it. Basically, that person just became the enemy because now I'm taken out of the attacking situation.
Yeah.
So I remove myself from being a possible attacker.
Yeah.
Being a possible defender.
Attacky.
Defender.
Yeah, that's the word, attacky. That's what I'm gonna start using.
Not all the English words work like that.
I'm gonna change the words on my cards now. The defending player, attacky is okay.
All right, so let's move on to actual Commander spotlights or play strategies that we can use to kind of help invoke what we're talking about here today, getting others to do the work for you. You want to talk about Commander or play strategy? Well, of course, we're talking about politics most likely, right? It's going to be the play strategy, play style. So what's any commanders that pop out to you?
Well, the first two that just jump out to me immediately, one is Send Triplets. There's so much of this that is used in a Send Triplets deck where you know what deck is playing what, you know what colors have access to what, so on a given turn, you're going to take that player's cards and literally be taking their resources and using their resources to do stuff for you.
Sure.
So that immediately jumps out. A similar one is one of my personal decks. I have a Villainous Wealth-based deck that does that 100%. There are so many times, obviously, when you're trying to cast it for 50, it doesn't matter who you pick. Mm-hmm. But when you're casting it for that 6 or 7 and you're just digging 6 or 7 cards deep, maybe you need a ramp spell. Maybe you need card draw. Maybe you need removal. And you have to know what deck you're going at in order to get that specific thing. And you're basically, for what resources you're using, you want to maximize your opponent's resources and get maximum benefit off of it. So I think those are great examples as far as full decks go. Mm-hmm. But we also discussed some individual cards, too, that kind of lend themselves to this.
Yeah. Before I get to there, I just want to point out, Villainous Wealth is probably your secret commander for a lot of your decks. just in case you didn't know. Villainous Wealth is a legendary permanent to this guy.
Yeah, it's one of my pet cards. If the deck can run it, it will be in there along with Cabal, Coffers, Urborg, and the whole. It's like a little family of cards that just travel together.
Yeah, I love Villainous Wealth. I love that you love it, and I love how you use it to play it. Like it fits any situation. Like,
it really does. It's like I don't know what I need. I'm gonna just Villainous Wealth and see if I can get it. And sometimes that's the best thing. You don't have to. Sometimes I'm not the smartest Magic player. You don't have to be smart when it's just like, just dig 15 cards deep and hope there's an answer. It helps.
Well, at least it's fun to see it resolve.
Yeah.
So one of the cards that I really spoke to me, one of the legends, is Edric, Spymaster of Trust. So this one is an OD, and a lot of people have played with this over the years, and I've definitely seen this one get put to a lot of use. That, hey, why attack me when you can attack that person and draw a card? That's basically what Edric says. You deal combat damage, you get to draw a card for every creature that dealt damage to your opponent. So you're letting a person get value from not attacking you, and they're whittling your players down. They may be getting a little benefit with the card draw, which is definitely a great resource in the game, but your life total is also a very valuable resource as well.
Kind of on the important side.
So yeah, leave that alone. One last one I want to talk about is Guafa Hazi Profiter. So I built a very strong, I almost want to say strong. I built him as a commander a very long time ago. I played it. This was a very intense game that I played this in. So intense that I decided to take it apart and not do it again. I was able to win with it, but I used so much mental energy that I did not want to go through this again. There was so much politicking that I felt like an actual politician, and I just felt dirty. And I was like, you know what? Never again. I'm done with this deck. It did its thing. I'm glad to see it do what it did. Basically, Wafa says you can make a creature not be able to attack or block, but they get to draw a card from it. And the entire deck was politicking like that. Like, I got other people to take out other players. I was shutting down creatures on the board. I was not using my resources, convincing other people to use theirs. Like I said, I don't want to go back.
It's actually crazy with cards like this. Anytime you can give an opponent even the smallest of benefits, because it's a free benefit, people just flip out. Like, the curses are a great example of this.
Yeah.
Where, like, oh, if you attack this player, you're going to get a treasure.
Yeah.
Half the time, these people, they don't need mana. They have access to plenty. They don't even use it, but just the thought of a free thing, people lose their minds. And cards like this are great at that, where you can direct people. They're not even paying attention to the fact you're getting treasures, too. They're like, oh, I get something extra.
Yeah.
You just warp the whole game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Guap is a really cool card.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the little curse cycle.
Yeah.
One with the Planeswalker and all the cards. This was the...
It was from 2017 was the curse cycle. So Curse of Opulence.
Yeah.
Although I forgot the other ones. But yeah. There's where you get zombies, you get treasures, people draw cards.
Gain
that
life.
Type of yeah.
Okay, yeah. So that's another way to kind of entice people as well. Get them to do your work by here's a little present for all your work, all your little efforts. I get some too, but don't pay attention to that.
And I guess one last card I do also want to mention that fits in so well is Scheming Symmetries. It's kind of a new card.
Yeah.
And this is amazing. I've had really great success with this card so far because you tutor for a card, put it on top, and you get to choose an opponent that tutors for a card. And when you let someone tutor, essentially what you're doing is you're tutoring and getting a free spell to cast. Because so many times I'll be like, okay, you can get whatever card, but I'll pick you as long as you deal with this, or as long as you get a board wipe, or as long as you do this. And people are so willing because they get to pick the card.
Right.
They don't realize they're actually doing your work for you. And I hope they don't catch on, but so far it's worked super well like that.
Yeah. All right, so that's pretty much all we want to talk about today as it relates to this Law 7. Get other people to do the work for you. Which I think is definitely very strong political strategy. Save up your resources, get other people to take out other players. Maybe laugh on the inside as it happens.
Or on the outside. Sometimes it's worth it, even if it gets you killed, just to celebrate your moral victories within the game.
Yeah, definitely. So, like I said, we're going to leave it off right here. Let us know how this tactic has worked for you in games. If it has worked, if you plan on using it, tell us a short little story about it in the comments. We'll love to hear about it.
And then also send us a list of the names of the friends you lost when they found out you were a sociopath in the process. We also would love to hear that. But no, all kidding aside, definitely in subtle ways, try this stuff in your EDH games. Don't take it too far. Don't become that, win first, doesn't care about fun type player in Commander, but try this stuff. And you might actually find that you might have more fun with decks you already have and be able to play them in just different and new ways.
Exactly. So please like and subscribe. Consider becoming a patron of ours. We have a lot to offer. Check that out as well. And like we said, leave us a comment. Hit the bell for notifications. Every time we put up a video, you will know about it. But until next time, peace.